So today I'm demonstrating the KingCamp MODENA two-person pop-up tent. This pop-up tent comes basically in an all-in-one bag that you can throw over your shoulder. Definitely not put it in a backpack, but it does only weigh 3 pounds. It's not very heavy, and it does come with some straps for not straps, but tie down strings and some stakes that kind of add to the weight a little bit. So if you don't really need the stakes and you don't need the tie down strings, then you could lighten it up a little bit. But for the most part, this would be really good for car camping. We've got instructions that are included on the inside. They're water resistant, waterproof, so they won't get all damaged and stuff if it's wet. And that's the rain fly that goes over the top of the vent over the top. The rain fly does only cover part of the tent, so basically you think of this as a single wall tent, and you will get some condensation built up in it, maybe on cooler nights and such like that. So be careful if you're going to be inside. A little bit later on I'm demonstrating how much room is on the inside, and it's not staked down, so it's not fully at the full length it can be, but I'm 5'7", and I've got headroom and foot room when I'm laying in there, and you can definitely sleep 2 people. There is only one door on the front, and you'll see that here in a second. So if there are 2 people, know that you got to kind of climb over the other person to get out. But you know who this is targeted for? Maybe for kids, maybe for the younger generation. But you know, you figure it's got plenty of room for most adults that are, you know, my height. So I'm just unhooking the cross beams, and you see it just pops up, and that's the back with the vented window, and there's the side. You can see how wide it is. It isn't staked down, so you can see it can go just a little bit further. And then there's the front with the door open. It does have two zippers, one for the screen and one for the door. So you can just close the door without closing the screen, or you can just close the screen without closing the door. But if you do want to close the door, you need to open up the screen first. Putting on the fly right now, and basically that just covers the vent over the top. You want to make sure that it, you know, covers the mesh area over the top. And as you can see, I'm setting this up in my family room, and there are no tent stakes. So again, you know, you really don't need to use the tent stakes if you don't want to. You could use just a few, whichever. It was pretty solid, just by freestanding like that. And that was my wife interrupting me. So now I'm going to take it down, or I'm going to show how much room is on the inside. And there's a lot of room for one person and all your gear. You can fit a backpack in there, no problem, and so on. So, you know, or, you know, extra gear. So if you're really not needing enough for well, actually, I'm sorry, 2 people can fit in here with gear too. So you can get some gear in here, and 2 people, it would be definitely a little bbit tight with all the gear and 2 people if it's 2 backpacks. Yeah, but again, I don't know that I would be taking this backpacking. It does pack away fairly easily. You want to practice this at home before you're out camping. There's some instructions explaining how to pack it back up, and just remember how you undo it, and basically you do it in reverse. I'm gonna go through and hook the poles together the front poles and then the back poles, and you're going to see I'm going to flip it upside down. So the front poles makes a circle, and then I'll do the back poles and it makes a circle. And now comes the tricky part of making it into figure 8. So you want to bring the poles together as tight as you can and put your hands into the middle where the poles are, the middle of the circle, which you'll see here in a second I'm going to do there. And then you snap it you almost feel like you're going to break it, but you don't. But once you bring the poles into the middle, it kind of forms its figure 8 shape, and then it kind of folds down really easily, so you can feel it's not going to break. Then you want to tie them down so they don't come flying out on you when you're trying to pack it away. And when you're packing it away, you want to make sure you get all the tent material away from the zipper. You don't want to damage the tent material, poke holes in it so that there'd be any leaks or anything like that. The tray area at the bottom of the tent is really nice, decent size height, so water build up around the bottom of the tent. It's not going to get in. The seams look like they were all really in decent shape. Knowing that there's no rain fly over the entire tent, if you're in a rainy area or if you're going to go out in the rain, I would highly recommend getting some tent sealer, and you can just put that on each of the seams so that you can eliminate some any possibility of any leakage. But for the most part, they all look pretty secured. So and you can see I'm taking extra caution not to zip up the tent itself, and zip up and cause any damage to it. So just take your time with that, and once you get it in, it's all nice and compact and ready to go. And don't forget the tent stakes and rope. And you just stuff it in the bag, then the rain fly, and off you go. Just finish zipping up, and it's ready for the next trip. And if it's wet, I highly recommend you take it out when you get home, air it out in your garage or wherever, and make sure that it's not wet. Otherwise you get some mold build up into it, and you don't want that. So anyway, that is my demonstration of the KingCamp tent. Thanks for watching.